Hey Thomas, how are you?
Jonathan, we're finally back after taking a break for about 9 days because someone lost their cell phone. Don't want to say who it was, but he's wearing a red shirt and he's on the other side of me. Okay. Anyway, now that you went to the lost and found at Chuck E. Cheese where you shouldn't be hanging out,
Found it. I
you know,
found it.
got to stay away from those little girls. I'm only teasing you, but yeah, it's
Not
it's
me.
annoying when you lose your phone. And anybody who's out there watching this, it's almost like you'd rather lose your wallet than your phone.
Oh, well, yeah, your phone is your wallet these days, right? It's everything.
Oh, it's everything. You got any contacts, everything. Hey, back in the day, you used to be able to remember people's phone numbers because you just dial it. Today, it's just hit redial, so it's unprogramming the brain the way in the
It
opposite direction the way it should be programmed.
it's yeah, I mean it's really true. I mean I barely know I almost know I think I know my wife's number just because and my father's number because he's had the same number forever and my wife obviously because in the beginning we dialed it, but I don't know anyone else's number. I literally like you said, just it's saved, it's a favorite, I just press it. That's it.
Yeah, I got a fantastic memory, but when you're not dialing people's phone numbers like back in the day, it's different. Especially when I grew up with the rotary phone. It's like.
My grandma had one of those.
Hey, that's it, dude. It's not that long ago. It's maybe maybe about 25 to 30 years ago that was still around.
Yeah, like I said, it was in my grandmother's house, probably in like the 90s at some point. Yeah.
You have them. Hey, listen, we're going to talk about a few things today. So the topics we're going to cover inflation. Is it coming soon? We're going to talk about Trump a little bit. We're also going to talk about Juan Soto and Bill Belichick because that happened to be big news and everything. But let's get into inflation. This morning, the U.S. Treasury came out with the inflation numbers. So basically, it looks like they're going to cut the interest rate. So if you want to pull that article up,
Yep.
yields on U.S. Treasury 10-year notes exceeded 3-month bill yields for the first time since 2022, with another Federal Reserve interest rate cut expected next week. The widely held view that the Fed will drop its target for the U.S. overnight leading rate change to about 4.25% to 4.5% on December 18th. So, the markets are probably anticipating that. Chances are when that does happen next week, there'll be a spike in the market, in S&P, NASDAQ. NASDAQ's been going up this week and also the Dow. So we'll probably see that. I do know Canada cut their rate by a half a point, and actually European markets cut it by a quarter of a point. So does this mean we're heading towards inflation? Well, if you know what's happening in Europe right now, Germany, which is the leading country in Europe, they're having bad economic problems right now. And usually, what happens in Europe comes here in a later wave, about like 4 to 6 months later. So, is this something we're going to anticipate? Are there things that Trump's going to be inheriting, and he's going to have to navigate through? And we've been saying since December of last year, 2025 is going to be a very rough economic year, and I'm not backing off that. I'm sticking to it. Your thoughts on this, Jonathan?
Yeah, I was looking at a lot of the data, right, from before COVID, so 2019, where inflation was at that point, which was a little bit below 2%.
Hmm.
Uh, if you remember, also around that time where interest rates were. So, I mean, listen, I think we were in good times as far as the market, how real estate was. I mean, things were expensive, but people, because the interest rates were at really low prices, you were able to do really good with that. So
Hmm.
that's kind of where I hope we can get to, right? Have inflation low, have interest rates affordable for people, so they could buy more house for less. Because now
Hmm.
it's both. You have high interest and you have high prices for houses. So most of these newer people that are getting married or just getting out of their parents' house, it's very difficult, if at all possible, to get your first house. It's not a sustainable place for people to grow up and start their life. So
No,
you need
it's true.
affordability. You need people to be able to go out to the stores and buy groceries and not spend 300-400 bucks on a weekly amount of groceries. And that hits hard for a lot of people.
Speaking of groceries, let's pull up the next article. Okay, and this was yesterday in CNBC. This is about egg prices may soon flirt with record highs, the suppliers say. And these are the reasons why. But since November, okay, which is only a few weeks ago, eggs have gone up 38%. I went yesterday to a super Walmart because they sell 60 eggs in a bunch. I couldn't believe the price. It was $19.87. I'm like, whoa, what happened, man? It's just like I just bought eggs in like, early November. And I was like, this is what they jumped up to. I was like, this is crazy. So they're saying, because there's another bird flu, that's also, but it's going to be like deja vu. So it's kind of like crazy what's happening. Like you just said with the grocery prices, they're not going down. And, I really feel for people who have a family of four, et cetera, that they're out there, buying, feeding their families, so it's tough out there. And it's going to get tough. I mean, one thing we can depend on Trump going to be doing, he's going to drive the energy costs down. That's what he's going to do. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take about almost 6 months till we really start seeing it. So that's why I'm saying 2025 is going to be a rough year. And again, we were talking about this a year ago, December of 2023. So, again, listen, I pray I'm wrong. Okay. I'm not jumping on, hey, I want my prediction to come right. I wish I'm wrong, but you got to always be strategic the way you look at things, and you got to look at the numbers and look at where the market's going and also the global markets. Look where, as I said earlier, look what's happening with Germany. They're suffering right now. You look in this country, you look at the jobs report that came out Friday, fine, but look at what the jobs that are added. High paying jobs are not there. They're not being added. Hospitality, government jobs are not high paying jobs. So, these high salary jobs are going by the wayside. And that's what keeps households together. Jonathan, why don't you add some of your 2 cents into this?
So what I did before is I was looking at the see if I get there. Okay, I was looking at the egg prices. I'm just trying to compare the last few months, last year. So from
Okay.
Google's AI, right? So okay, we got January 23, 482 per dozen. Then in October it went down to a little bit over $2. November 365, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
saying December now 588. So you're
Yes.
seeing a massive increase from a low of a little bit more than $2, almost like a 12, 13 months, about 13, 14 months ago. It's a
Yeah.
big difference. It doesn't add up, but it's funny. I see these videos of these kids, like from when I was a kid. You go to the store, your parents give you $5, you come back with like a whole bag full of stuff and treats. Now you go, you get like a pack of gum. I
Yeah.
was literally I was at the mall the other day, and
Okay.
I was getting like a drink, and the person for me was getting like a like a thing of Altoids or something like that, and I
Okay.
think it was $6.25 for a pack. And the
Wow.
guy the guy left. He's like, I'm not paying $6 and change for Altoids or whatever it was, something that
Yeah.
normally would cost like $1.50 or maybe $2. So
Wow.
the little things matter. They really
Yeah.
do.
It does. And, I noticed I don't go to, it's very rare I'll go into a McDonald's, but I stopped in there. I think it was
This
Monday
morning.
morning.
This morning,
I'm
right?
sorry?
This
No, it
morning
was
you
actually Monday morning. It was down in Myrtle Beach. I just stopped in there and, I grabbed two sausage biscuits for $3, one for myself and one for the dog. But, I saw in the menu that they're like returning the $5 meals. So for them to do that, they're trying, I guess, to bring back business to them because their numbers are down too. So it was interesting looking how even McDonald's is trying to be strategic, to keep customers in, even amongst inflation itself.
did you get the McRib?
No, no, that's dude, I haven't had that since it probably came out. No, I don't know, it was the late 80s and 90s. It's
They
a
keep
long
bringing it
time
back.
ago.
Yeah,
Is that now on the menu, the McRib?
I think they're bringing it back, or they brought it
Yeah.
back. I was hearing about it. Yeah, I don't know. I
I
didn't
will
like
tell
it.
you, I will tell you this. I do go to McDonald's every March for the McShake. I got to support the green shake. So I do that.
That's good. Good
Other than
stuff.
that, here's something else that was interesting that you could bring up. And this is about the Biden administration quietly clears away the border wall parts for auction ahead of Trump's second term. Now, I also saw something. This is from the New York Post, and it was something in the Daily Mail yesterday. They're selling it as little as $5 a section for the parts and steel and stuff like that. Now, anybody who's ever had a GSA contract with the government, and also we've read about stuff that people would, get indicted and go to prison because, they screwed around with the government money that was given to them and not used in the proper way that was actually supposed to be distributed. Well, you know what? This falls into that category. This
Mm,
is taxpayers' money that bought this wall, all right? And the parts for the wall, the supplies for it.
yeah.
Now the Biden administration is selling it for pennies on the dollar. Why? And why are you doing this to make life tough for Trump? I
Yeah.
mean, this is criminal. This is not even being an asshole. You're being criminal in what you're doing. And the people that are behind this should all be indicted and serve time because this is common sense that this is criminal. This is outright a global criminal syndicate, what's occurring. Your thoughts, Jonathan?
And it just from the point of that Trump wants to continue to secure the border, immigration, all of that. So if that's his ploy that he's doing this to make that more difficult, or he's doing that to help his you know Democratic mayors or governors that are trying to say that they're not going to help Trump with deporting people, it's a bad take. Again, we have to finally, and I think for the most part, I feel like a lot of people are trying to come together, um, and they're trying to make the next 4 years the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope that, listen, you can't control what this guy does. We've seen it, what he does, and how he handles things. So luckily, we only got a couple more weeks left, and hopefully, Trump will just continue to take this to a point where we can breathe a little bit here.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're going to find out. I mean, today is December 13th.
Yep.
So basically, we're about 38 days away from him getting sworn in. So we're going to see a lot of executive orders be signed initially that day as soon as he gets back to the White House to get the ball moving and economically and also for a lot of justice too. People from January 6th, which a report came out yesterday, which we're not going to get into. We'll touch base on that next week. But, you know, listen, people need to come together. Let's just work forward and getting this nation back on track. This past weekend, anybody who is, a baseball fan or a sports fan, I am a Mets fan, but we're going to talk about the Juan Soto contract. He's 26 years old. He signed a 15-year, $765 million contract, which comes out to $51 million a year for this outfielder. Now, I think it's insane. I think there's no justification for this. Sports has gotten way out of hand. Even paying these quarterbacks, a guy like Patrick Mahomes this year, I looked up 72.8 million he's making. Dak Prescott was the guy to sign a contract a couple of weeks into the season for 60 million a year. He's a washed up quarterback. And the cost of the games, you can't even bring a family anymore. When I was a kid back in the 70s and 80s, your dad could bring you and bring, a family of four. It wouldn't cost you that much. You probably could all enjoy a game and really enjoy it with meals and everything and parking for less than $100. Okay. And it was probably even less than $80 back in the 80s for it. Today, to take a family of four to a game, Jonathan, have you been to a Yankee or Met game like in the last year?
Not in the last year, but I'm sure if it's like anything else, it's a pretty penny, I'm sure.
I know you're a big hockey fan with the Islanders. They opened up the new arena there last season, and I know you go to games. What's it cost when you bring your son for tickets and enjoying yourself at the game, including parking? Just the
And
two of you.
if you want to get in, you'll get in maybe $150 a ticket. But
Okay.
if you actually want like center of the ice or good, you're gonna pay a couple $100 a ticket to get good seating. And then forget about the food. The food is outrageous as far as pricing. if
So
you want
you're
to,
basically saying, all right. So you said like, all right, let's say like an average ticket, 150 doesn't have to be center ice, just sitting maybe in the 300s, you know.
yeah,
So
let's say
that's $300 there. And food wise, was that going to cost you another like 50 to 80 bucks?
probably. I mean, you get like a beer is like 20 something dollar. I mean, it's so. I mean, listen,
Are
I
you
won't drink.
serious? Wow, man, that's
Yeah,
crazy, crazy. I know your son's only 9 years old. Do you just have him on light beer these days, or did you move him up to lager?
we're up to the Shirley Temples.
Shirley Temples. There you go. That's all right. Very cool. Anyway, but yeah, it's insane. I mean, just to even go to a hockey game, you're looking at probably, and how much is parking, by the way?
I think parking was it $40 or $50? It's crazy.
Holy shit.
It's probably like
Unbelievable.
it's like a $500. If you want to have a good time and not think about it, it's like a $500 thing for two people.
And that two people, that's unbelievable. You and your son. That's insane, dude. Insane. But that's why it's not even a family event anymore. I mean, it's such I mean, how can you being the father of the household, you're a middle income, how can you enjoy the game knowing that you're paying all this money? I used to go to a lot of Mets games when I was a kid. When I say a lot, I probably went to like about 8 to 12 home games a year. All right. I literally have a ticket stub. I found it when I was like moving like 4 years ago, and it was like from the late 70s. It was 75 cents the ticket, Jonathan, and it was in the loge section, the blue seats at Shea Stadium. I mean, that's wild, wild. That seat today is probably $75 minimum.
It's yeah, I mean, it's just a real I mean, listen, it's just a different experience, but it's for most people they're not going to be able to enjoy that. They're not going to be like you said, even if they do go, they're like thinking they have to get their monies out of it. So it's not a good feeling. Now, the only thing that and then if you want to go see a good game, right? If you want to see a good game, you're going to pay more. If you want to see
Yeah,
a garbage game, like a team that's not that good or no one wants to see, then you might get in for, under $100, but it all depends
it's
on what you're looking for.
It's funny that you bring that up because I think the NFL started a few years ago. I remember reading about it. Like there was certain games that were like premier games that would charge more for that game to see them play that team versus say like the New York Jets play the Jacksonville or whatever. It's sad that they do that, but it's kind of like putting a premium on it. It used to not be that way, as we both know. Um, let's talk about what
Just
happened
I'll
on.
show you
Oh, you
here
want?
quick.
Yes, yeah, sure. Go
So
ahead.
yeah, if you like, for right now, the Islanders aren't doing that good right now. So if you want like
Okay,
garbage seats out here, you can get in
okay,
pretty. I'm not sure if that's cheap to people, but you get in like that. But you look at the view, it's not it's not really what you want. If you actually want, let's say in the twos, right?
yeah,
$129, and then if you really want to be fancy and you want to sit close,
yeah.
if I can very slow this,
You gotta zoom it out.
yeah, it's very slow.
Okay. I know you're using the AOL dial-up system still.
Yeah, someone just called in.
There you go.
Whatever. It's not. It's just it's running really slow. But I think it
I
was
got
$445 for like a really good seat.
That's crazy, man, for one ticket. You know, that is crazy. Anyway, let's hop to our next article. Let's talk about Bill Belichick, a little bit of a shocker, going to college for the first time. That's what he's going to do. So Bill Belichick's UNC contract includes one bonus that's perfectly Belichickian. They're calling it. All right. He actually will earn some bonuses for winning, of course, and he'll actually earn up to $200,000 for his players to have good grades of a 3.0. So I think that's a very good incentive. And actually, I think a lot of college coaches on every single sport should be tied into their players' grades, you
It's a
know,
great thing.
as well as, winning too. But the grades are what's important, especially with now that you have this licensing where some of these players, I shouldn't say some, there's quite a few of them, that actually can, make millions of dollars on the sidelines. But, education is the most important reason why you're going to college. It's not to play sports. So I'm glad that they tied that into his contract. They like to see more of a percentage tied into it. But what are your thoughts about Belichick going to the University of North Carolina to coach college, Jonathan?
I mean, listen, I guess he wants a different scenery. He's been around the NFL for so long. He had a lot of success when Brady was on his team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's just probably just wants to change it up. And listen, I like that. He has incentives for his players to do well in school because education is number one.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these, football players, their careers aren't long anyway, so they get, from what I read and see, and a lot of them they have shorter careers, and if they don't get that education,
Mm-hmm.
uh, a lot of them aren't necessarily the best with money. It looks like,
Oh,
and they could be in their early 30s with not much to show for it. So it's a great
true.
thing. They all should be coming from college. They all should have their backup plan of what they want to do, how they want to use their influencer, or celebrity status, whatever it may be. But yeah, I mean, listen, for Bill, let him do, and it's exciting for the school. It's exciting for college football. So let's see how it
Oh,
works.
100%. It's going to be interesting how he builds his coaching staff. I like to see if there are going to be guys that are going to follow him that are on his staff over in New England. So that'll be interesting as well.
Yeah,
Also, his 24-year-old girlfriend actually will be able to get probably free classes. I wonder if she's going to get a dorm room too. No, I'm only kidding around. Anyway,
yeah,
I know he gets teased a lot about it, but hey, listen, hats off to Bill. If his heart's happy and he's in love, God bless him. There you go. But
yeah,
yeah, hey, listen, it's going to be interesting seeing him on the sidelines in college next year. And I know it's a 5-year contract. He's getting paid $10 million a year. It's $50 million. I know there's a buyout if he goes to the NFL, which is a strong possibility. So we'll see what happens. I mean, he has nothing else to prove. I mean, the only record he's possibly looking at is getting Don Shula's record for most wins ever, which I think he's about 14 wins shy of that. Um, but listen, between the inflation we spoke about, between Trump, Juan Soto, and Bill Belichick, it's interesting how diverse this conversation, has gone.
yeah.
But, we're coming to the, towards the end of 2024. So, I mean, we have a lot of excitement we're looking forward to in 2025. One main thing I hope happens is going to be world peace more than anything, and to get rid of this stuff. And I hope we have peace within our own country. And then, let's see where the chips lie when Trump gets in, and hopefully most of his picks get in. Because listen, he wants them. Let him run with it. Either
Yeah.
he's going to be either king of it, or he's going to get hung by his own picks. So we'll see what goes down. Listen, we appreciate you listening. We ask you to hit that subscribe, that thumbs up, like, and definitely share. You guys have a great weekend. Take care.
Okay.